Hey guys, it's Katie. I'm going to show you how to edit objects and text in ActivInspire. An object is a photo, a shape, or a group of words. I'll show you how to edit text specifically at the very end, but for now I want to focus on how to edit objects. When you click on any object, you'll see this row of icons appear above it, or below it if the object is at the top of the screen. All these icons allow you to change your object in different ways. You can move it by clicking and dragging on the gray X. You can also move your object by clicking and dragging anywhere on your object and moving it around the screen. You can rotate your object by using this curvy arrow. I'm going to skip this option for now. The edit menu brings up a lot of options and I want to come back to that in just a minute. You can change the transparency of your object. For example, right now this rectangle is opaque, but if I adjust its transparency, I can make it disappear. I use this particular feature in my warm-ups. What I'll do is I'll put a background picture in the background, obviously, and then I'll just make a white rectangle and I will make it almost transparent. So you can see the picture through the rectangle, but I still have instructions that are easily readable. And that was how to use the transparency slider. If you highlight two objects, you can group them together, which means you hook them, and now they will act as one object. So if I click on one and drag it around the screen, since these two objects are grouped, both objects will move with just that one. When objects are grouped, you can move them together, you can change the size together, change the transparency together. And to undo the grouping, just click on the grouped icon again. If you'd like to change the order of the objects on your screen, for example, you want the cloud picture to be on top of the square, you can do that by bringing it forward. And if you don't like that, send it backward. If you need a copy, click on the duplicate button. It will make you a copy. And finally, if you need to resize, you can use these two icons at the end. I think it's easier just to click and drag on any of these gray circle points around your object, and then that way you can resize it. But if you prefer to use those little stars, that's okay. Okay, so let's go back to your big edit menu. I'll have to show another video on how to use your action browser and inserting a link. Those are some pretty neat features, but they may take a little more time to explain, so I won't do that here. These are self-explanatory. If you've ever used word processing, you know how to do all of these. If you click on the transform button, we've covered how to change the object size, but one thing you may want to try if you need a mirror copy of something, click on mirror in the y-axis. Oops. And it will come up with a mirror copy of whatever object you were looking at. By the way, if you don't want to click on your object and then click on this to pull up that menu, you can right-click on your object and the same exact menu appears. We've talked about reordering. If you want to lock an object, this means that it can no longer be manipulated. It's locked in place. So if you are doing a presentation and you don't want certain parts to be moved by the students, then you want to use that option. To unlock it, you'll have to click on this blue square at the top and go into the red edit mode. You can move things around in the red edit mode, and when you go back to blue, they're locked again. So if you decide you actually don't want that cloud picture to be locked, go back to the red edit mode and we can unlock it by unchecking this. Finally, the last thing I'll show you is how to drag a copy. If you choose this, and we go into the blue presentation mode, now instead of a mouse, you can see there's a hand with a plus sign. That means every time I click on this object, the original stays put, and I can pull as many copies from that one object. I found this to be really useful when I teach how to balance equations, because students like to be able to manipulate these pieces to count out exactly how many atoms and molecules of everything that we need on one side versus another. So to make these simulated atoms and molecules, I just created circles I grouped them together, and then I made them able to be dragged, drag a copy. If you decide you don't want drag a copy anymore, go back to your edit menu and uncheck drag a copy. And now it's just a normal object again. Okay, I'm going to clear my objects. And as you can see, that cleared my text, because text is treated as an object unless you're editing it as text. Okay, so here's some text to work with. If you double click on text, it'll highlight everything. Another way to highlight everything is up here, select all. And this works well if you've typed like a paragraph and you need to quickly select everything, hit select all. Just like in word processing, I'm sure we're all familiar with Microsoft Word, you can change the font type, the font size. You can also change the font size by clicking here to make it bigger, or the smaller T to make it smaller. Most of this is pretty self-explanatory as well. If you want to change the colors, you can change the color of the font and the background color, just like in word processing. Once you've made your text, you can treat it like an object. So, for example, if you want to make it transparent, you can make it drag a copy. And if you need to edit your text, just double click on it and you'll be able to go into your text. Okay, that's all I have to show you on how to edit your text and objects within Activ Inspire.